Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Welcome to the Entrepreneurship Forum. Today it's my pleasure to introduce to you Devon Hansen. Devon is a small businessman under that definition and is a man of integrity and honesty. And that's why I like him to come and talk to you. He has great character, and he's his small business, and he'll tell you more about it, but he has a Toyota dealership for used Toyotas in Bountiful, Utah, North Salt Lake, just off of the 26 South off-ramp. Very well run, and I've been impressed with his operation, as I have been with Devon, and I consider him a good friend. And so without any further ado, I'm going to turn the time over to Devon Hansen. Let's give him a hand.
Well, it's a pleasure for me to be able to come and spend some time with you, and I appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedules to come and to be here at this business forum. I've had the opportunity to speak at several of these, a couple of them here. I've spoken at Weber State University, and it's always fun to be able to come and present and talk to fellow business students that have a similar interest as to what I have. If I was going and speaking to like the music group, I'd really struggle because I really don't have talents in that area. But hopefully in business today, we'll be able to talk about some of the things that business administration with an emphasis in finance. And I know all of you are going to have different emphases that you're pursuing, but that's the one that I had. I'm not going to go full screen here because I'm going to go a little bit different than what I've done in the past. Sometimes I'll go through and do a presentation, but what I found is then we open it up for questions. We have a lot of questions. We run out of time, and then I stand up here for 20, 30 minutes after answering individuals' questions, and I think it would be great to be able to hear questions from you and then be able to have all who are here participate and kind of give some your insights or ask further questions. And so I'm hoping to be able to answer some of your questions through some of the presentations that I've done before and have that information. So the one thing that I would like to do is this is my degree, and as you can see right there, it's all worth it. Sometimes as you're sitting there and you're studying and it's late at night and life is just piling things on top of you, and you probably wonder, I wonder if I can stick this out or if I should stick it out. The answer is absolutely. It's worth it. It's worth the time and the energy and the effort. I'm assuming some of you have come right out of high school and straight into college. I'm assuming others of you have had careers and then for whatever reason have decided to come back and further your education or to get a degree. So whatever the reason is that you're here, just know that pursuing that degree, when you get it, that it will be worth that. So I appreciated the fact that there were some flyers out here. I took one last time I was here so that I would have a memento of my time, and took a picture of the business building. But to come to Salt Lake Community College, it's just such a pleasure to be able to come and to see the wonderful students that are here and to learn from you as well. So know that even though I'm going to be doing some presentation, it'll be a benefit to me. So as we get started, I want to talk about a couple of quotes. The first one, success is a journey, not a destination. What I would encourage you is sometimes we think, wow, when I get my degree, right, that's my destination, then I will have been a success. Well, guess what? Once you get that degree and then you're seeking employment, you go, wow, once I get that job, or I'm seeking out a career and I've landed what I'm looking for, then I will have found success. But then you've got projects that you're working on, and then you're like, wow, if I could just get through with this project. Well, many times we put those goals and have ambitions, and my recommendation to you is, already having done this for a little while, is enjoy that journey that you're in. Take advantage of the opportunities that are here. relish those experiences that you have, because that's what really makes the journey enjoyable. It's good to have an end to journey towards, but it is the journey that matters in the end. And that's what I was mentioning there. Look at this next quote. Life is about trusting your feelings and taking chances, losing and finding happiness, appreciating the memories, learning from the past, living in the present, and maintaining a bright hope for the future. And so, life is a risk. And with risk comes rewards. And sometimes as we take risks, are we always going to be successful in every venture that we pursue? I would tell you that, you know what? If you're successful at everything that you pursue, that's an anomaly. That's not going to happen as often as we're going to take some risks. We're going to find failures. And if that happens to you, learn from them and move on and look for new opportunities. But sometimes we're going to do that. This right here, life is about trusting your feelings. I know this is about business, but I hope that too you learn some life skills here. If there's something that you really want to pursue, I encourage you to go for it. There'll be plenty of people who encourage you to do something different. There may be naysayers out there. There may even be people that are telling you, hey, don't go to school, don't go to college, just get out into the employment field. But if you follow what your feelings are and you pursue it, and it doesn't work out, at least you can say, hey, I followed my dreams. I followed my feelings. It didn't work out. You'll feel good about yourself and you'll move on. But if you go by every wind that takes you here and there, or you hit a bumpy road, or somebody gives you some guidance and direction, and you decide instead, hey, I'm going to do what they said even though it goes against what I want to, guess what that will cause? If things don't work out, how do you think you'll feel? Go ahead and share with me. What do you think you'll feel if you wanted to pursue something but you ended up making a decision based on what somebody else asked you to do? So you feel some resentment towards that. Is that how we want to feel? No, those aren't good feelings. What else might we feel or do? Yes?
Regret.
Yeah, we have a regret of, man, had I pursued this 2 years ago, my course would have been different and I would have followed my dreams. And so we have those feelings, and to me, those aren't positive, feelings that will help us to enjoy life.
You're not going to live in a happiness life because you always struggle in your life, because you never do something that you never liked, so it's kind of struggle a little bit in your life.
No question, and I agree with that. And so that's why I'm saying pursue those things that you feel that you should do. Because if you do, I don't know, I'm not certain. Part of the reason why I work is because I want to support my family. I want my family to be happy. I want them to enjoy the experiences of life. I want them to be comfortable. And so that's one of the things that when I have a bad day at work, I realize it's not just about work. It's about what I want to do, what my goals and ambitions are. And so if we have that and we establish what those goals are, it helps us to get through some difficult days, right? And that's what you're talking about. Do you think we would have any inclination possibly to maybe blame someone else? Saying, well, you're the one that told me to do it. All I'm sharing with you is that's no way to live life. Make your decisions. Pursue your dreams. And if you do that, regardless of the outcome, you'll be able, as those first quotes said, to enjoy that journey that you're on. And so I encourage you to do that. The picture of success isn't the same for any two people because we are all unique individuals. You know what? I'm here today to share some thoughts and ideas, hopefully put some ideas into your minds that might cause you to think about what you want to do and what you want to pursue. And then we're going to talk about business here in a minute. But I don't have anything to share that's going to be unique just to you because I don't know you that well yet. But you know what it is. You know why you're coming back to school, what some of your reasons are. And so
If you know what that is, you're the one that is the best person to determine your destination, not anyone else. And so I hope, if nothing else, you'll say, hey, I came in here and I believe that Devon believes that. That what my goals are, they are worthwhile. What I want to pursue, I'm going to put my dream out there and I'm going to go after it. And you know what? Along the way, as I have accomplishments or successes, I'm going to enjoy those, not knowing what the ultimate outcome will be. And so I hope that you do that. I want to just get from you so that we can hear. Tell me some of the reasons why you're attending this business college, what you intend to do with it, what you hope maybe the end result will be, just so that we can get a feel and kind of open up this discussion a little bit. So just by raise of hand, participate with us. Tell me what some of the reasons are that you're going to school. Yep.
Well, I want to start a business, and so I figured with this being an entrepreneurship forum that I could learn something about entrepreneurship.
Terrific. And that's the questions, and that's what we're going to do, is open this up to discussion instead of me talking. But I needed to build a little bit of a foundation, right, in coming in and talking to you and making you feel comfortable. So hopefully you'll ask some questions and realize, you know, I'm not per se the expert in exactly what you want to pursue, but I'll certainly like to answer some questions of what I've felt and what I've experienced and what my journey has been like. So to learn about entrepreneurship, to gain some skills, to gain some understanding so that you might be more successful in your business ventures?
Yep.
Okay. And we're going to talk about what those percentages of success are in small business. You probably already know. Yes. Thanks, Melissa.
I also plan on opening my own business, but I also believe that you can never stop learning. And so
Yeah.
I want to know as much as I can before.
Ah, brilliant. We'll talk about that a little bit as well, because I agree with that 100%. Yes, sir, in the hat.
I want to make money.
Yeah. And why do you want to make money? Because money itself, I mean, I can give you some money. As long as you put it in your binder and don't use it, you're going to feel good about that?
Not as good if I would earn it.
But what do you want the money for?
Buy nice things.
Yeah, it's so that we can do something with it, right? Money is a means to an end. Money itself, if you have it and you can't use it. Have any of you ever had some foreign currency that you can't cash at the bank? I've got some from years gone by, right? You take a trip, you bring it home. I mean, it's neat. I can show it to you, but it really doesn't do what I want the money for, and that is to be able to provide a lifestyle of some sort, correct? You know, my hope is that I get a phone call and I get interrupted. I have a passion for cars. I'm in the automotive industry. I'm trying to swing a deal on a bright yellow Corvette, black interior, 20-inch wheels that's down in St. George. And I told him, you know what? If I feel it coming, hey, it's good to see you. If I get a couple of different calls coming in, I'll check my phone and see. But, you know, that's a passion of mine. If you come to my dealership, you'll see that I have, you know, a few different cars that aren't just for sale. They're mine because I have an interest in them, and that's part of what I do to enjoy. So money and making money is part of how we determine, or a measurement of our success in business. Is that correct? Because if we don't make money in small business, what do? We call it a hobby. And there are plenty of hobbies that are going around, but it's tough to support maybe the lifestyle or families that we're looking to do. So money is one that comes up and is a driving force. And usually if we gain greater education and we're sharper and have a greater desire, we'll actually be able to make more money. And I hope that's part of the reason why you've come back to get an education, because you know there'll be more opportunities for you in the future. Fair enough? Hopefully I see most heads agreeing with me. If you're in here for the hobby, that's good too. Enjoy what you're doing. Just know that you may not have as much money that comes out the other end. Okay, any other thoughts on the reason why you're here, your education?
I run two businesses and I want to expand them, but I need to expand myself to prepare to do that. So I'm here.
Very good. And I have a slide that I'm going to get to that will address really most of these issues that you brought up. Yes. Did you?
Maybe just to be an active part of whatever we are doing. We all some of us already have kids, some will have kids. And it's good to be a model and to be a more dinosaur, yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of to catch it up.
Sure. We want to progress. We want to move forward.
Discover who
We-
we are. It's like
Boy,
many seasons.
does everybody, have you all arrived to exactly what you want to be? Oh, I saw a gentleman raise his hand in the back. That's terrific. Oh, no, he was just... So anyway, most of us are in that process. Is that right, Miss Powers?
Yes.
Trying to move forward, right?
Right.
Whatever it is, let's move forward and see what we can come up with. Well, that's terrific. I appreciate you guys sharing your thoughts. I want to share just briefly an experience that I had when I graduated from college. I was pursuing my degree in business, hoping to be able to, I didn't have a vision of opening a small business, but I wanted to work in the business field. And so around January, they had a career fair where companies came to the school and we got to meet with them and talk to them, and you could turn in resumes to them and kind of look forward to what would happen when we graduated. Well, I had done some research in a career library. Do you guys have a career library that they can go to, or do we pretty much just research it on the internet?
Online.
Yeah, isn't that amazing now what the internet, I mean, it's just opened up the whole world to us, hasn't it? And but back then we had to go get a binder out of the career library, and I looked it up and I saw Toyota, but a division of Toyota, Toyota Motor Credit Corporation, and I thought, wow, they've got a tremendous review, a lot of growth and potential. I liked the integrity of the company. And isn't it interesting, when I was introduced and they were saying I was a man of honesty and integrity, I bet you didn't associate that with what he said my career was. I'm a car dealer? How many people associate those terms with a car dealership? Well, I'll tell you kind of how, yeah, thank you. I'll tell you how I arrived there. I talked to Toyota and the gentleman said, you know what? I'm not interviewing for Toyota Motor Credit. I'm interviewing for the insurance division. I said, well, how would I interview with someone from Toyota Motor Credit? Well, they don't come to this university. They go to different universities throughout the country, from Michigan State to UCLA, some of the larger, colleges and universities, and I was at Weber State. Have you heard of Weber State up in Ogden? So I was at Weber State, and I said, well, is there any way that I could give you a resume and you could take back to them? No, I'm going on continuing recruiting, so you can't do that. Well, end of the road, right? So I just shrugged my shoulders. I walked out of the room and said, darn it, don't get that opportunity. No way. I continued to talk to him and asked him, is there any other way? And he said, well, Heather is the one that comes out and does the recruiting with me, but I guess you could try to contact, her and mail a resume. How successful do you think I would have been if I mailed a resume down to Toyota? Has anybody ever sent a resume into companies and not gotten a response? So I took it a step further and talked to him, got some information where the corporate office was of Toyota. I went home, and remember, it's in the cold months, about like it is now. And I said to my wife, we had just recently gotten married, I said, how would you like to go to Southern California for spring break? Go to Disneyland, happiest place on earth. And by the way, I want to stop by at Toyota's corporate office. And so spring break came, I jumped in the car, we drove to Southern California, I pulled into this parking lot, and they said, you can't get inside, you've got to have a pass. They had security badges, and I said, well, how do I get one of those? And believe it or not, I went through the process down there with security, got a badge, went inside, and they said, you can leave the resume at the front desk. Well, to me, that felt about like I would have mailed it, but I had just traveled hundreds of miles down to Toyota to give them my resume. And to my mind came the remembrance, a name. What was that name? Heather. I said, well, you know what? Is Heather here by chance? I understand she's the one that would want to receive the resume. She checks, and Heather's there, and they walk me back to where Heather's at. And she said, well, I'll just take your resume. We're not interviewing right now, and we'll get back to you. Do you think I was satisfied? No. And so what I did was I basically started to conduct my own interview. Well, let me tell you the reasons why you might want to interview me. Let me tell you my experience. Let me tell you, I've worked at the credit union to try to get work experience. I'm one of the top people graduating in my class from Weber State University. I know that Toyota Motor Insurances went there to recruit. And you know what? I'm a good candidate for this position. To make a long story short, about a month later, I got a phone call. They flew me to California. I spent 2 days in interviews. And then they called me back and offered me a job. I said, I'll get back to you. Wow, I can't believe I did that. I thought about it, went back with a counter, and they said, I don't think you understand. We're making you an offer. Do you want to take it or not? I said, yeah, absolutely. I'll see you down there in a couple of months. I graduated. 2 days later, the big Grable van Lines pulls up in our little teeny college community where we were at, loaded up my meager belongings because I didn't have much, and actually pulled our 2 cars in because there was room inside. And thus my career began with Toyota. Over the next years, I went to Toyota as a management trainee. 6 months in California, 2 years in St. Louis, Missouri, 2 years back in California, then to New Jersey on the East Coast, then back to California, and the white flag went up for my wife. I give, that's enough, it's too much. We started to have a family as I was doing that, and at that point I looked for an opportunity to come back home to Utah, and unfortunately, Toyota doesn't have a branch here, and thus ended my career at Toyota. But did I learn anything from those experiences? Did I learn anything about myself? Did I enjoy the journey? And then I came and worked for a couple of other companies before I decided I'm going to try something on my own. And a business partner and myself started with 3 Toyota Corollas. Why do you think I started with a Toyota product in my own small independent business? Because I had knowledge of it. I knew that car. I knew how to acquire it. I knew everything about it. I knew of its quality. And so I began with that. And so some of you had talked about that, hey, I need to know more about what I'm going to pursue before I just jump into the business field, and I would strongly encourage that. And so we began with 3 Toyota Corollas, and Affinity Auto was born. And that's been my journey up to this point. And so with that being said, I want to just go to a couple of slides. Now, I'm going to show you just a couple of things as we go through here, but we'll do it quickly. So that's part of the reason why I'm doing what I do, right? Those are my children. So you can see some different interests. So how many of you have flown in a KC-135 refueling jet? All right, one in the back. Pretty amazing experience. You lay down in the belly of that big plane, and a jet will come up underneath you and they refuel it. One thing that I've learned that I would encourage you, you're not going to get anything that you don't ask for, right? If you say, hey, I knew Colonel Finley of the U.S. Air National Guard out by the airport, and I said, is there any chance to be able to get up on one of these flights? Well, lo and behold, guess what happened? I got up in one of those flights. And then I said, is there anybody sitting in the cockpit in the jump seat? And they said, oh yeah, we've always got those reserved for someone, one of the VIPs. We've got, you know, broadcasters from the church or the TV stations that come, and they'll, you know, film this and do documentaries and different things. But if there's not anyone there, we'll bring you up. Can you see where I'm sitting? Headsets on, looking out the front, going up to refuel these jets. And so I would say, if you come to my car dealership and I've got a fantastic deal on that car, I would want you guys to say, now is there any way you could go just a little bit lower? Because if you don't, I'm going to sell it to you for what it is. But if you ask, guess what you might get? You might get a little lower price. So check that out. laying in the belly of the plane, a little window back here that you can look through. And so they're down there, and the guy's all mic'd up. And I said, hey, is there any chance that I could lay down where you're laying there? And so I'm laying there looking out as an F-15 over Oregon comes up and refuels. Now, there were plenty of other people up here looking down through this little window, but it was pretty cool laying in the belly of that plane looking out and being able to take that photo so that I could share it with you. Now, does this have anything to do with car sales? No. Does it have anything to do with living life? Absolutely. And guess what? I wasn't at the car dealership when I was doing that, and it's okay. You don't have to be there the whole time. So, antique cars. 67 Ford Mustang convertible. Kids love it. Put it in the parade. Why am I doing my business? For my family, correct? I'm doing something that I enjoy and have a passion about. And so is it fun on the 4th of July to get into the parade and to take my family and have them sit on the back of that and throw out candy and to see their smiles? Now look at this. We throw this stuff out sometimes. You know how kids will just dive in for taffy? You ought to see what they'll do for a water bottle and some candy. Would anybody like one of these? Thank you very much for stand up. I like that. And the guy who almost intercepted it, because that was a pretty good catch. Good job. So this is a little bit of marketing, right? Affinity Auto Sales, to take this home, and you'll see that pretty cool water bottle and, of course, a little snack as a college student to get you through the day. So those are the things that are available. So let's answer some questions about business, should we? That's what you're here for. Oh, check this one out. Now, this one, can you see where the ground is? And I'm flying in this T9 Texan fighter plane. Well, do you notice the proximity of where the ground is here? Where am I? Upside down, right? So while the other people, when we were in Kissimmee, Florida, were off to Disney World, and I had lived in California and been to the happiest place on earth so many times that it wasn't as happy anymore. My wife said, you love airplanes. I've been up in a lot of different ones. Why don't you go take this flight? Well, guess what? I had to pay extra when the lady said, do you want to go upside down? And I went, not so sure, right? Upset stomach, take a bag with you when you go up. It's terrific. Well, hey, if you're going to live life. She goes, if you're going to fly in a plane that can go upside down, you should go upside down. So I'm out there. I'm flying this plane. You know at Lagoon, when you're in the little helicopter and you're flying it, right? You're turning around and around. You have control of that, well, up and down. And so I take this plane upside down, up over the top, and I said to the gentleman, now you were flying that, right? You got me through that. He said, no, you'll see when the pictures, they have a camera out on the end of the wing. He said, when you see the pictures developed, you'll notice that my hands were hanging onto the bar to hold myself in while you were going upside down. So I don't know. How many of you have flown upside down in a T9 Texan? Gentleman in the back? No, not this time. So sometimes there are unique opportunities that I'm unique, and you know what? There are things that you've done that I haven't done that make us unique individuals, and that's the excitement of life. That's what we want to do. So there's so many fun experiences, but we're going to go to this. All right. So when I went to interview to work for Toyota, I really wanted to work for them. Was it easy for me to go ahead and just go in, drop my resume, and land a job? Jeff, was it that easy for me to land that job? Did I put some commitment into it? Did I put some skin in the game? Did they see in me that I had the desire to work for their organization? Yeah. But did anybody say no to me along the process before I finally got the yes? So yes is our destination, but really no is the way we get there. And so I wanted to just briefly talk to you about the power of no. If someone says no to us in your career or your small business plan, do any of you watch like Shark Tank or any of those business shows where they're presenting their ideas? Are they ever told no? And they walk out of there, hang their shoulders like I said, and they're done? No way. What it means is, hey, I'm not quite there yet. So do you have to go back to the drawing board? Do you have to sharpen your tools? Do you maybe have to put more tools into your toolbox? Absolutely. It allows us to be more creative in the ways that we're going to do it. It requires more research and investigation. It demands persistence. And guess what? Sometimes it allows us to move on. There were jobs that I interviewed that they required a master's degree. I did not have a master's degree. Would it have been good for me to drive all the way to California to talk to their corporate people if the requirement was to have a master's degree and I didn't have it? No, it would be a waste of my time. So when they said, no, you can't do this, it allowed me move on. One word that I found pretty important and pretty powerful. Next. Give me the next opportunity. This one may not be it. This one may not be suited for me, but I'm ready for the next one. So let's look at a couple of quotes from some successful business people. Thomas Watson, founder of IBM. The way to succeed is to double your failure rate. Does anybody want to fail? We really don't want to. And so is it sometimes uncomfortable to fail? What I want you to get over is to realize that failure is part of the process of getting success. That if we fail and we don't allow it to defeat us, but we have an understanding of what it is, we say, hey, let me learn from that. Let me grow and let me move on. And so if we can have someone say no instead of going for the yes, what it does, it'll actually get us to the yes quicker. Richard Fenton, yes is the destination, no is how you get there. Failure is the opportunity to begin again more intelligently. Look who that's from, Henry Ford, right? I have to put an automotive quote in there. That's the industry that I'm in. So the power of no. Is anyone afraid to hear the word no? I don't want you to be, okay? Take this lesson that you've learned and realize if someone says no to me, to my opportunity, it just means, it doesn't mean no, it means not yet. I'm not quite ready. I'm going to gain more information. Is that right, Melissa? And that's why you came. I need to learn more, and then I'll be better prepared for my business opportunity. Small business administration. Here we go. We're going to talk about success rate in small business. So according to this, in September of 2012, in the first 5 years, 50% of all businesses, so let's take 100. 100 of you start up a business. How many are going to be in business after 5 years? This is a quick math question, not super difficult. 100 minus 50, we're 50, right? 50 make it. Then what does it say make it the next 10 years? The next 5, so a total of 10. 1/3 of those, so how many is that approximately? 16, 17? So 100 start and 16 or 17 remain. Phew, I think that's why Rick finally invited me to come here when I hit my 10-year mark. He wanted to say that I was a successful businessman, right? And I'm telling you what, it feels terrific to have passed 10, 11, and now to be in our 12th year of business as Affinity Auto Sales. Because statistically, thank you, Darla, statistically, when I started, the success rate wasn't that great. Now, who was it, the gentleman in the back that said, hey, I want to start my small business. I want to learn something about that today, correct? We're going to talk about this. We're going to open it up to you, but let's use these as maybe some reasons of discussion. Somebody who owns 2 businesses. You own 2 businesses. You can help us, right? We can learn together as a group today, and that's what we're going to do. Let's check our time. Oh, we're in good shape. So, 7 reasons for failure. Again, we're hoping to not be on the failure side, but if we are, it's okay. It means we're going to gather information and we'll be more successful the next time. Is that correct? So, number 1, we start for the wrong reason. What might be a reason that we would start a business for that might not be the right reason? What do they mean by that? Yeah.
Money.
So the love of money drives us to start a business, and so we're going to pursue money, but what might we not have yet?
Money.
We might not have capital. We might not have capital to be able to keep it going. How many of you have seen friends or family that they've lost their job in the middle stages of their life, and they've decided that, you know what, I'm going to start my own company and it's going to be real estate or insurance. And they just weren't able to endure it long enough to build clientele before their capital ran out. Have any of you seen that? Because those are great industries to get into, but if you can get into them earlier in your career, when your standard of living isn't quite as high and you don't have as many bills, you can build that base of clientele, and you know what? They do extremely well. But that's one that, again, if you don't have sufficient capital to get started, it's going to be difficult to get to. What's another wrong reason to start a business?
Pressure from somebody.
Yeah, there we go, what we were talking about. Hey, I've got this great idea, and I'd like you to try it out. Have you tried it out? No, not yet. I want to see how you do. You guys are a smart group. You understand. Nah, I don't think I'm going to go there. I'm going to go where? What are you going to pursue? Your own goals and desires and ambitions, not somebody else's. Because if you don't have a passion for it, do you think you're going to be one of those statistics? Man. Statistics of the 75, 80% that don't make it? If you don't have a passion for it, there's a higher probability. Okay. Poor management. How could poor management, or any of you going into management? So how could poor management, for those who are going into management, let's hear from you. How could poor management cause a business to fail? Melissa?
If you don't have the right management in place, then things that need to be done properly aren't going to be, and they're going to spend money on things that aren't necessary when they're failing to provide the things for the business that are necessary.
Yeah. Does the manager, is he as concerned about your business as you are? Is there anybody that can run a small business as well as the owner? If you get the right management, the answer is yes. But is that difficult to find? Gentlemen in the back there, in going into management, tough to find somebody that's going to operate just like you and run your business?
Yes.
Yeah, and what are some of the things, we had heard several from Melissa here, but what are some reasons that a manager might not be able to run the business successfully?
You got to be able to make good decisions, and like she said, and be able to like run your staff. And
What gets in the way of making good decisions?
Absence of knowledge or experience.
Not knowing. They don't have the experience, right? And so if you don't have the experience, it's going to be difficult. What else?
Emotions.
Serious? Was that you, Megan?
Yeah.
Megan said
I'm a
emotions.
manager. Hey, I want to say that because I'm a manager. It's an all-girls store, so it's emotions do run high when it comes to like some management decisions, and so I can say, I
Yeah.
can personally say that emotions does get in the way of what you feel is right or wrong, or what versus what someone else feels is right or wrong.
Does peer pressure add to those emotions when one of your coworkers says, hey, don't do that, come on, come out and let's, or do it this way. Well, if you know that this is the right way to do it, what did I tell you? What should you follow? Follow what you feel is right. Because then if not, you can say, I honestly believe this was the best thing. But if somebody else told you to do it, and you did it, and the whole management concept breaks down, there's a problem. Do you think greed or theft or dishonesty by that manager can create any concerns in your business, Joy?
Oh, yeah.
Do you have any examples you could share for us?
Oh, well, my parents had a family business, we still have it, and my siblings have taken over. And I've noticed the one sibling that's been in for a long time, she's still doing great. But the sibling that came in the middle is sucking the money from the one that has worked for it, because he wants to expand only his department. and he's not thinking about the big picture.
I like what Joy said too about the big picture. Were you going to say something else?
Well, it takes planning on management. You have to work with all the departments or with the departments that are gonna, it's not just your department, it's not just you. It's a team. It's a group effort.
Does anybody like to be part of a team? Do you like it when you can bring in the resources from the whole team and actually produce much greater results than you trying to carry the load all by yourself? Now that's fun. That's ownership. That's management. Is it okay for you guys to manage a business before you own your own? Yeah. When we talk about some of the things in here, one of the things that I would say is that experience, lack of experience, right? I know it says lack of planning and stuff, but lack of experience in your industry or what you're going into will make it extremely difficult to be able to find success. Was there a reason why I went into the automotive industry instead of the flooring industry? Man, I had so many connections and I understood it and I had been around it, so I'm going to take the highest probability of success, and that was what I knew. So having job knowledge, you know what? I mean, I worked for other people and managed for a long time before I was willing to take the risk to go out on my own. I would encourage you, if you're looking to go into small business and open up your small business, you gain as much understanding as you can. And it's not a bad idea to go and manage someone else's business to see if you're successful at it, to gain additional knowledge and then go out. Do you think there's anybody that's worked for me that has left my company and gone out and opened up their own? Yep, and that's just part of the way it is. And you know what? I consider myself a success to be able to provide them an opportunity to learn, to grow, to develop themselves in a talent, and then go out and spread their own wings to try to find success. The overexpansion, we've heard this mentioned a couple of times as people have talked, but if you grow too quickly, growing too quickly, getting multiple locations can just suck the resources so quickly that you're not prepared for it, and it doesn't take a lot to take a successful business that's making money and all of a sudden, as Joy mentioned, an area being depleted or money coming down, okay? So we're talking about small business here. Throw out any questions. We've had this little bit of discussion. Ask me some questions that you want to know about business, management, owning your own business that either I can answer or your professors or your classmates. Yes, sir.
Do you take a risk on your management?
What type of risk are you referring to when you say, do I take a risk?
As far as the expansion, you mentioned expansion, how risky is the expansion?
So, I started with 3 Toyota Corollas, if you recall, and it was my business partner and myself. And that's a small business. And I washed every car and I detailed every car in the winter time. I financed my own deals. If you want to grow your business, you're going to have to take some risks. You've got to be willing to give up some control. Do you guys like to give up control of your lives? Most of us want to hang on to it, correct? And in a small business, we want to try to control everything. It's been the hardest thing for me probably, is to be able to give up control and know that somebody else, I'm going to give them a task to do. It may not be how I would do it, but the job's got to get done and I simply can't do everything. And so the risks that we've taken, hiring more employees, moving locations. Let me see if I've got a picture here. So this is our dealership now. 20,000 square feet of space, 4.5 acres, 80 to 100 cars, and I started with how many? 3. Did people want to loan me money when I had 3 cars? Flooring lines, banks, did they want to risk? No. So guess whose money I risked? Mine. Second mortgages on the home, borrowing from family. That's uncomfortable for me. But if I was to grow my business, I had to do it, and many of you will have to do that as well. And so Affinity Auto Sales, this is the Larry H. Miller Chrysler Jeep building that was in Bountiful. They built a new facility and moved further north, and we moved into their facility. Now, do I have further room for potential risk and expansion? We don't do service right now. Is service a completely different industry than car sales? Yeah, Completely different management team, tools and resources, marketing. And I haven't done that yet. But it's an area of growth that we can go into. And we will if we get the experience. Did that answer your question somewhat? Thank you so much. What other questions do you have about small business? Yeah.
What's the number one piece of advice you'd give someone for starting their own business?
No question, if you're going to start your own business, is to have a frame of reference and some experience before you get started. Because if you don't have the experience before you get started, you've got to take all of the risks, learn all of that knowledge while you're trying to build your business. And I think that's the primary reason why people fail, is a lack of knowledge in their industry. There are a lot of other reasons that you see coming down there that can cause it, but if you don't know your business, right? And then I would add, if you don't know it and have a passion for it. So, bottom line, do something that you love. How does that sound? Do you like that? Is that good advice? Can you guys take that and do something with it? Was it worth your time to come here if the only thing you got from it is, I'm going to follow my dreams, I'm going to find something I'm passionate about, and I'm going to do what I would like to do to make sure that I have ownership of it myself? Okay? Now I see Rick standing up. He's approaching. We must be close to our time, but I still have a couple of bottles up here that I don't want to take home with me. Hey, you guys learned so quick. I like that, how you guys learned. And then, will somebody wear this while you're working out, an Affinity Auto t-shirt? Right? You will wear it, honestly? Look at this. Look how nice you're going to look. That is awesome. You will? You promise me? So when I see you out running in the community, okay. So I thought I had one other. So wear those things. Thank you so much for letting me come. Fun to talk to you guys. I hope you'll follow your dreams, take your passions, and find tremendous success in what you're doing.
Big hand for Devon Hansen. That was terrific. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
And if you haven't signed the roll, be sure you do it.